hold on. Because it's showing you still on air. You're still on air.
Alright. Hold on. Give me a second. Check it now. Refresh. It says I'm on the air, dude.
Yep, you're good.
Alright. Finally. Let's knock this out of the park before I lose more brain cells. Welcome all to the Misfits Racing League Sit-Down Talk Show, Episode 8, Week 7. Yes, I know it's Sunday. It's not a Monday night, but we are doing this given that my Florida Gators are in the National Championship tomorrow. I would love to watch that. But anyhow, let's get into it. I've got none other than my broadcasting partner in the truck race, Justin. How you doing?
Good.
And then, of course, we got the truck admin, who keeps telling me I'm not on the air when I was on the air, Dave.
How you doing?
So, guys, last week was I would say kind of a good week so far, but yet it was a really chaotic race at Darlington, and then Michigan kind of was the same a bit. So, you know, Cup, we only had one caution, and I couldn't tell you what it was for. Given that if I could tell you, someone may have spun coming on the pit road, or I don't know. But, hey, you know what? I'm going to say this. I finished not 7th. Yes, I said it. Not a 7th place finish in the Cup race, and I'm happy about that. No more 7. Yep, finished 4th, and I started 4th, finished 4th, man. I was hoping I needed a caution on that, but, hey, it was good. And the Xfinity trucks were at Darlington, and, you know, it was the most craziest Darlington races I think we've had, if you ask me. Justin, as a driver, you were in there. When did Danny, I moved this to Sunday because I'm watching the Florida Gator game tomorrow night, so that's why we're moving it a day early. So please... it's going to be back on Monday, so don't y'all worry. But, Justin, the Xfinity race, you and Dave raced it as a driver for you on Wednesday. What did you expect?
I was hoping to not have an early caution like we did, because it kind of threw some people off on the pit strategy. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it to the end on gas, and it trapped a number of drivers a lap down at the end of stage 1. Just the lack of cautions kept people from being able to get the lap back, unfortunately. So overall, I had a good, solid race. Was able to keep myself in the top 10, majority of the race, and had a good points night overall.
Absolutely, and, really quick, Corolla took all 3 races, Michigan, and both Darlington races. Dave, you finished 2nd at Darlington in stage 1, and what I was hearing is that Maddie was kind of not happy about how stage 1 ended at Darlington Xfinity.
Well, you got people saving fuel, and when you realize that it's just part of racing, and you're going to have to either learn how to save fuel or just take complete fuel saving completely off.
Absolutely. And, it was a good race. Given that like I said, I believe, 4 cars on the lead lap after stage 1, and that was, the most insane, if you ask me. Remind me of Richmond trucks a couple of seasons ago. I think it was stage 2. I pitted, and everyone I think everyone pitted, and I stayed out 1 extra lap, and I pit, caution comes out. Top 4 were somewhat good on the lead lap, and that's what it kind of reminded me of. I didn't think about it until now, but it was a good race all in all. I think you only had 2 cautions that night, did you not?
Yeah,
we had 2. Yeah, we had an early caution, and then we had another caution right at the beginning of the final stage.
And one of the heavy hitters who kind of had a bad day that night was Piff, as Dave's going to hate me for saying this, but he somehow, some way, I guess what I was hearing, what he told me is that he ran out of gas and got to Dave. And I thought when I saw on Dave's stream that he pitted, and I was like, okay, well, he pitted. So
Right.
I thought it was a battery issue, if you ask me.
To be honest with you, I thought I'm not sure what actually had happened with the 9 car, because I was going to take a wave around and hope for a yellow, or either that or just stay on the lead lap until I had to pit, whether I had to pit a couple laps sooner than the lead lap cars. But I think I'm not sure exactly what happened with the 9 car there, because I was going to try and take a wave around at the end of stage 1 and then see if the 9 car had actually pitted or not. So I thought he stayed out, which forced me back down to pit to, stay with even tires like everybody else had. So things happen.
Oh, they do, absolutely. And your top 5, we'll get to top 5 first. Is your top 5 was Corolla, Mills, G, myself, and Reb. Again, a top 5, first top 5 in so many seasons, and Corolla picked up his second win of the season. Corolla with the fastest lap of 38.6. He beats Maniac's record from season number 4 from a 38.8 to 4 from season 4. And this week is going to be Bristol Dirt, and however, we'll get to the all fun stuff about talking about the Dirt Week in just a second. Your top 5 from the Cup race, or from the Xfinity race, was followed: Corolla, JPR, Fula, Turnover, Matty. Matty had a good run at Darlington. Same with Turnover after winning Gateway a couple weeks ago, and right now looks like, it may be a fight if JPR gets those 70 points, given that I'm not sure how many he has heading into this week.
He'll be locked in after Kentucky.
You think so?
We don't have the updated point standings for Xfinity yet.
Yeah, we'll cover both Kentucky and Darlington's points in the next episode. But all in all, I think Darlington Xfinity was a great showing, if you ask me. So.
Oh yeah, it was good.
It is, and I think, and I'm looking forward to getting under the lights at Kentucky and
absolutely
seeing what my Chevy can, how my Chevy can compare.
Oh yeah, I mean Kentucky's a great track, and you gotta manage those tires, and just it's gonna be a great race. But then again, it's gonna determine on how good you could probably save those tires. But also
not only that, the fuel mileage, yellows. There's a lot of variables in racing that you have to look into, not just one thing.
Absolutely. And, our fastest lap winners for both the Cup and Xfinity race, Turnover King with a fastest lap at the end of the race, stole the point from us Cup guys from went to a 38.817, and then JPR took the fastest lap with a 29.262, which gave him a bonus point. So, yeah, I think that was interesting. And now we head to the truck side where, me and Justin covered it, and I think that race
we had a good mix. We had a really good mix, actually.
Yes, we did.
First time we went caution free.
That
and caution free for 68 laps as well. And what really what kind of threw you off, Nick, and it actually wound up turning into very good stage points was for Full in stage 2. He came in real early, and it cycled through, and he was able to. I believe he was second in stage 2 at the end. So it was a nice little strategy move by Fulla to get some of those stage points there in stage 2. Actually, I wanted to point that out because I was watching the broadcast again and had noticed that I think he came down on lap 3 or 4, stage 2, and it cycled all the way out, and he ended up second behind Duck for the stage. So absolutely. Great strategy move by Fuller there just to grab stage points. So can't always doubt the strategy sometimes either, Nick. Just sometimes you just see people They may come in just for a splash of gas just to get to the end of the stage.
Oh, surely.
And Darlington was a track that, that's technical where, if you come down, get a splash of gas, it's a, 3-4 second stop. You're not really losing a whole lot of track time, and if it cycles through, more good to the gander in that case.
Sure. Oh, sure. And, really quick, Corolla started on the pole. He's been breaking records on poles, fastest laps. He broke his own record from last season on the pole. His last season's pole was a 29.929, and then he just shattered his record with a 29.838. And then your stage top three, full pool, rolling, Corolla. Then your stage two was rolling, again, as mentioned, Fula and Corolla. Corolla picks up the win with the fastest lap at the end of the night. He picked up a 29.728. He beats the GU record of an old record from season 8, that of a 29.820. Your top five was Corolla, rolling, JPR, Fula, and G-Pre. And this next week, we are heading to Eldora. Oh my goodness. And the points shook up after Darlington, as I'm going to say this, heading into Eldora, we have a new points leader, but not by much. And that's Corolla with 312 over Full Pool's 310. So, wow. I mean, Darlington just shook that up.
Not only that, Corolla picked up several not stage points, but the playoff points as well. Not only that, him and Full Pool have been 1-2 practically since Daytona, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And right now, I think we're looking at least those two gentlemen being in the championship for Atlanta when it comes to the Truck Series right now.
Oh,
easily.
Sure.
They're consistently up there week in, week out, battling for stage points, battling for fast lap, battling for poles, battling for wins. But like I said, Eldora is gonna bring out a different animal in a lot of people. And to be honest with you, with it being dirt tracks and short tracks, I've got a feeling that people might be holding on to a few receipts and paying people back Thursday night.
Oh, sure. And you got to realize also, if you're looking at the playoff reseeding, if Darlington was the last race before that cutoff, Corolla would have that regular season championship by just 2 playoff points. And then you got Jamie with 3, Fula with 2, JPR, Duck, and Maddie have 1 playoff point, and then the rest is Piff with 0 from 8th on back. Piff, Dave, Reb, and Turnover with 0 playoff points. And I tell you, speaking of Rogue, he's still above that cutoff by just 2 points over Speedway.
Wow! So I'm telling you, this with double points this coming week, this is going to shake up for a lot of people, guys.
Absolutely. And Dave, you want to explain all the Eldora stuff?
Well, no trucks, no drivers are locked in. I mean, this is how you're going to get in. It's a 100% race, no matter what. All heat races are blind draws. Sign-ups will close at 6 Eastern, so I can get the names in the computer. No double points for stage points, just regular race points. The race itself, you get your double points. Expect some sliding, beating and banging. So I don't want to hear anybody complain because this is dirt.
Now the question I have with this is, are playoff points going to be? How are playoff points going to be rewarded for this race?
Just as normal.
Just normal. So basically, if you win the stage, pay a playoff point. Win, basically same thing as normal. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense.
But the key of it is, like, when points, usually the winner gets 5 more points. This time they're getting 10.
Ooh.
because
So-
40 plus times 2 is 80.
Yep.
Or so basically, we're not going off of stage points. Say they won a stage, and they get the 10. And in the normal race, it's 10 points. Basically, if you win the stage, it's just a playoff point, but it's just race points that'll be doubled, is what I'm understanding.
Right. You'll get your bonus points. 10 for the stage, your playoff point as well, and then it's the regular points that are going to be doubled.
Okay, that makes sense. So I mean, we're talking like a huge. I mean, we're talking about guys in that playoff bubble, Nick, that could have a huge night, and guys that could literally struggle.
Well, that too, and go ahead, Dave.
And they're usually like 1 point off during regular points. That night, you're 2 points. You get two points on a position. So,
Right. And you got to realize about this, if you're Michael or someone like him or Eternal or GU, you need to get those double points. But again, this could help Speedway if he gets something going. I think this could help him a lot and surpass.
He could be a dark horse. Wednesday night. He almost won Bristol. Think about it. He almost won Bristol a couple weeks ago. So,
and we just found this out. If we get 20 some cars, we're taking all 20.
Wow. So are we talking like 2 separate chats for this race?
Yep.
So, wow. Wow, we're talking some wild beat banging, get it in under the lights type of race, and I can't wait.
No kidding, man. I mean, Dave, he's won 3 straight. He didn't go 4 straight last season, but hey, 3 straight at Eldora, that's insane. But you gotta watch out for 2 drivers that I think who could be up there with Dave, maybe. Yeah. What's his name? I think it's going to be Piff and Maniac. Those are the 2, because if you've been around those 2, those guys are dirt. The dirt is their bread and butter, man.
Well,
Absolutely.
Piff has finished second so many times at Eldora, and if anybody wins, I'd like to see Piff win, so he can finally knock that off.
Absolutely, especially with him being one of the OGs of the league.
And I think Maniac's won sometime. I think he's won at Eldora like a couple times. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dave, I've been hearing there was one time where Maniac had he still had the fastest lap on Eldora or something. I couldn't remember if it was in the late model truck.
Yeah, it's late model.
Oh, I thought it was
Maniac won season 2 late model.
Yep.
And then he won season 3. Then he won season 4. Then Roland came in, took season 5.
6 was
Maniac. 7 was myself. 8 was myself. 9 was myself. 10 was Corolla, and 11 was Corolla.
So Corolla's the defending 2-time champion. So and with him, and you have to also think about it as well. He's also won the last 2 races as well, but it also seemed like when we did the interview, he didn't feel like he was the favorite to win Eldora. So, like I said, this race is fixing to be wild.
This race has gone caution free 8 times.
Absolutely. I remember a couple times. Eldora was one of the craziest races, if you ask me. But I don't know if I'm going to be right about this, but this may be our last time at Eldora. I could be wrong, given that the game's going to come out in a couple months. And
the game's not really going to be released till about October.
Right, but I'm just saying I don't know. I'm just saying it may or may not. I'd
like for us to try to squeeze one more season in. And have league owners. This is my opinion. It's just an opinion. Everybody's going to have their own way of doing things. I think the league owners should test this game out first before they go, okay, this will be okay for our league, instead of just getting your feet wet and then stuff's not. Exactly. And, instead of throwing yourself straight into the fire and then something doesn't work.
Absolutely.
I would say as league owners that we test this new game out first before we introduce the new game into league racing. In my opinion,
absolutely.
At least test the game out first. Make sure it's going to be compatible to your league. Before dipping into a new game, and switching games over, because a lot of these guys that I've seen that are doing like these posts on Facebook, it seems like they're just let's just go. Test the game out,
Sure.
Make sure it's compatible for the stuff that you're going to be running.
Absolutely. If you ask me, that's a very good way to put it. Very good way to put it. And yet, there are some guys right now, if you're looking at the truck points right now, I mean, some of them, I think if top 9 have 200 points, and yet Jamie and Maddie and Rogue are not in that 200 range, gosh.
Well, here's the thing, though, Nick. Trucks is an open series. There's no point plateau in trucks, from what I understand.
But I'm just saying, you gotta just realize it is going to be absolutely crazy.
And I want to touch on something what Maddie said last week. Is it seems like truck is much tougher.
It has. And we're seeing.
If you get a winning truck, embrace it. I mean,
oh, I'm telling you, and from what I'm seeing in the broadcast booth this season, just from the finishes that we have, I'm expecting 3 more great finishes in the regular season before we even get to Texas for the playoffs. At the way we're going.
Yeah. And that's something with trucks. You just
We've got a competitive class this season.
Like UPR said, there's 12 guys that can win this thing.
Well, you also got to realize that, Dave, when you first introduced, or whoever introduced, it was going to be an open series. My thought was, okay, well, it's going to be all open. Everyone's going to run this series. And I think when they first introduced it, I was like, well, I got to get something going. And when they added Corolla, I was like, okay, well, that's going to be a big competition whole season. This whole season, I've got to find a way to outsmart him, or I got to outsmart people who I know I can outsmart. And when season 10 came around, I did not expect this to be where it was supposed to be. I was like, okay, Daytona, great, that's going to be something fun. And then we had to, what was it? I think it was Richmond, that playoff race. I knew after that first round, I was like, that's probably a fluke. So sure, you go to other tracks where you got people who have strengths and weaknesses. Tracks that, like Richmond, were a weakness for other drivers who say, okay, I know my braking points here, or I know to get in the gas here. It's just like, it's unexpected, It's like these tracks we go to aren't as easy if you put them on the AIs, and yet these are real. These guys who race in our series, they've worked their way from the bottom all the way to the top, and then you got to realize, okay, these are real this is real competition for, even in Cup this season. GU and Corolla have been pretty much the class of Cup somewhat this season.
They really have, and you also have to, I also think that Gar's been having a very solid season up there
as
in Cup.
A rookie, if you ask me.
And he's leading the Cup points for rookies, But him and Reb have been really strong in those Fords, and don't be surprised if one of those guys, say at a Pocono or somewhere coming up, where they end up picking up a win.
Well, I think Corolla's a Cup rookie because that's right, he is a Cup rookie.
Oh, okay, Corolla's a Cup rookie as well.
Because I don't know if you don't know this, because when he first joined last season, he only ran some Cup partial schedule, and so
basically we've got 3 good, basically rookies in Cup this season that have been pretty solid.
Well, and again, you got Cup that's not that big of a field like trucks.
That as well.
Well, you got to also realize, if Matty was here, he'd probably back me up on this. When this league first started, Cup was like the main biggest series. Everyone wanted to run Cup. We had a bunch of them. I mean, if you watch the previous broadcast from when I started this, we had a bunch of guys. We had OGs like Storm, Jamie, all those guys, and it's like, holy cow, how do we get a big field in? You know, that was
right.
That was the biggest thing in this league, where, you know, Cup was so much, and then no one worried about trucks being an open series at the time. No one even worried about that. Everyone's like, you know, we're going to run Cup. And then I don't know when it was when Matty decided to say, hey, you know, this guy, you know, you got to start down here and then work your way up and then go to Cup. And, you know, it's like the Dirt to Daytona or NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup. You know, you start out low, work your way up, and then work your way as a Cup driver. So
right.
So, I mean, yeah, we lost a couple guys who were top of their game in the Cup Series. Yeah, but then you got to realize that, you know, it was fun racing with them. But then, yet again, it's just like, okay, well, you know, how do we want to, like, break the records or outsmart them or whatever you think?
Well, a lot of it, too, is, you know, certain drivers from the lower series only have 5 races.
Right.
That's each race. And it's vice versa for Cup.
Absolutely.
Cup down to Xfinity, run 5 races. There's a lot of Xfinity guys will be happy when Corolla is done with his 5 races.
Oh, don't think I haven't been counting.
Oh yeah, we've been counting.
Well,
but there's a lot of guys that haven't ran that many races in Cup, and I'm going to be running the second one come Tuesday. So,
I understand that you're going to be running a different car come this Tuesday.
Yep, 41 car.
And I understand that was from a sponsor. There's a sponsor reason that you're going to be running the 41 for the rest of the season, as far as your spot starts go.
Well, we got to get used to not seeing the 14 in the next game, so might as well get started now.
Understandable.
And yeah, that was kind of good sources, if you ask me. But again, like I said, Cup was the biggest main priority most of the time when I first started broadcasting. Everyone wanted to be in Cup. It was so cool. Everyone was saying, hey, you know, we're going to run Cup. And, you know, you had RKM, Keystone, Jamie, Sports, Turnover. Everyone was in Cup that time. And everyone was, you know, okay, you know, didn't have to worry about saying, oh, I'm going to sign for trucks and, you know, be there. You know, I get it. I was in Xfinity for like a couple seasons. Yeah, but Matty thought, hey, you've been in Xfinity too long. You got to move up. See, I think that's what it should be, is if you've had experience being in one series, I think, let's say, you've been in Xfinity for like 3 seasons, you got to be moved up. You can't be in Xfinity for so long. But yeah, it sucks, but yet you got to do what you got to do, you know? So, but again, it's just, trucks was never an open series when we first started this. It was all...
No, it was basically rookies, all rookies. And
exactly, and I believe... when you first started, Dave, if you were a rookie, you had to drive a rookie truck, didn't you? I think I remember that. Because
actually, there's a funny story about this. That when I first started, I was, I think it was season 3, and I got bumped at Xfinity, and they realized that, hey, this guy could drive. So I got to race the Daytona race, and one of the biggest compliments I got was Maniac went into the broadcast, and I was wrecking somehow, and I stuck it in the wall, and he goes, man, whoever can save that car, whoever that was. So that's how me and Maniac became pretty good friends on the game.
and I think, was it you or Maddie who texted me saying we should like revisit like old times and stuff like from season 1.
Oh yeah, I texted.
Was that you? Yeah, okay, it was you. Okay, I was thinking it was Maddie, but no. When here's something I'm going to say about my championship. I didn't expect season 10 to be the year. Okay, I didn't expect that to be season 10 because that was our 10th season ever. That was our 10th season at the time, and I was like, it's like, you know how NASCAR had their 75th anniversary and stuff like that. So going to that season, I'm like, what do I gotta do? I'm terrible.
But if you think about it, you're like in the Misfits, kind of like Champions Hall of Fame type of thing. For you're on that list. I mean, think about it, Nick. It's a good accomplishment.
And it's as a group, as the league. I can't say that I've been in a league that has gone 12 seasons.
Oh, absolutely. I think didn't last long.
It's like a few seasons and people get mad and then they leave. That's not the case here. We all care about one another. Matter of fact, one of our brothers that lost a family member, and I just want to give them a shout out, Keystone. Hope you're doing good and everything, and we're praying for you guys.
Yep.
But there's and it's stuff like that. I mean, we carry. I mean, we're states away.
Exactly.
Maybe one or two of us will meet, or three or four. Like I went down and met Nick and stuff like it. It's just a family camaraderie of
Absolutely.
want to have fun.
Exactly.
For 2.5 hours, let's worry about the world problems and our problems. Just race. Exactly.
And if we meet as a person, if like let's say I go hang out with Rolling at a race, and we have a moment where we could say, hey, I remember when me and Dave met, we talked about racing and stuff like that time. We were talking about, how he told me, just gotta worry about what you gotta worry about on the racetrack. Don't worry about anyone else. Don't worry about anyone else. And when I heard that advice, I'm like, okay, well, I hope that really comes out into my head and that transfers over to the race in a couple seasons. And when season 10 came around, like I said, that I didn't expect that to happen, and I just literally just didn't expect it. And Dave is right. We've had guys leave and then come back. Some guys, like I think it was Jamie, who got mad at some reason, and then he had to take seasons off, and we get it. You gotta take a season off to cool off, or stuff has caught up with life and stuff like that. You can't always.
Or sometimes you take a sabbatical. Think about it. Sometimes you take a sabbatical and you come back and you're fresh, and it's like, oh.
Well, it's just that you gotta like realize. None of the guys like Maddie or Keystone ever left. They always had your back. They've always had your back. And yet I'm telling you, these everyone in this group is amazing. If you ask me, like when I first started, I did not know anyone. I messed up on names. I get it. I was not that good at broadcasting. And now, yeah, I know. Even Maddie said it before. I will sit down and say, "Hey, you want me to broadcast this race? I know every driver and every car number, and I will know everyone and stuff like that."
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean,
you've become really the voice of MRL.
Absolutely.
And, Justin is starting to become that second voice.
Well, I appreciate the compliment. I really do appreciate that.
And Rogue as well. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
we take pride in trying to give people a good race to watch. That's what we aim to do every week.
But yeah, I've talked to Rogue a couple times. I think there was one time I wanted Rogue to broadcast with me a couple times, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And I think I think it was, excuse me, the first time I broadcasted, I had a good buddy of mine, Delgado. He and I, that's how I got in here. Is where me and him, we're saying, hey, let's look for a league to broadcast if Giggity or Taz's league goes down. Because I think at the time I was broadcasting for Giggity at the time. Or Valid, I can't remember which one it was. So he's like, hey, I will look for a league where we can broadcast. And so he, yeah, no, Dave, don't do that to him. Don't do that to Piff, Dave. No, but I got into that, and then Delgado got a hold of Maddie saying, hey, we need and he said, hey, we got a league that, needs broadcasting. And then we got into it, and I think something happened between Delgado and, he and Maddie got into it, and it left me to say, okay, well, I don't have a broadcasting partner. And then, of course, I think it was, I don't remember what season it was. I know Billy Martin, my good buddy Billy Martin. I haven't talked to him in months or years. Still, he was the OG of the Voice of Misfits when me and him did it. It was absolutely perfect. It was absolutely the greatest. And then when he bailed, I was like, well, I'm not going to sit here and broadcast all by myself, I'll just race, But, of course, Dave wants me to talk about the prayer where, Dave, that prayer joke, you want to tell us about it?
Well, it was I want to say season 6. Yeah, I think it was season 6. Me and Jamie, I was actually sitting at the hospital, and me and Jamie were just barely hanging on with the skin of our teeth, and we needed G Free and Pip to have a good night. And I was texting Jamie, and I said, "Is it a bad thing that you don't want them to do good?" And he's like, "No." He goes, I said, "Well, I'm gonna say a prayer." And I said a prayer. And I said, "Well, let Pip have a bad night tonight." And I said, "Also, if you can count on it, have JPR have a bad night."
G3.
Yeah, G3. Later that night, we were racing, and I can't remember which one lagged out first, and then the other one lagged out, and it was just got quiet in the lobby. And I said, "Jamie, can you believe that just happened?" He's like, "Nope."
I don't think I was. I think I do. I know hearing that, but I don't remember if I was in there. Maybe I was having one of those years. Where
So ever since then, they've said, don't get under Dave's skin. He'll say a prayer and knock you out. It's a pretty good story. I wish I could find exactly the conversation me and Jamie had. I was actually looking for it last time. My phone froze because I went way too far back in the messages.
That's all right. We're already starting a new prayer ritual with Xfinity on Wednesday nights as it is. So I think that's starting to get pretty comical too.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I think the battle between
and we'll give a shout out to the league owner Matty for that league prayer, that little prayer that he gives on Wednesday night that makes me snicker every week. So thank you, Matty.
Yeah, that battle between me and Maddie, I'm glad I saved fuel because I think I got him this week, so we're no longer flip-flopping back and forth.
Well, you guys are still flip-flopping like a fish for the next 3 weeks.
I love racing against Maddie. I think I kind of got him into the wall a little bit this last week. I did not mean to. I never mean to wreck anybody, so.
No.
You'll know it if I mean it. I mean, I'll flat out tell you, I mean it.
I know why. I know where Dave's coming from. He's done it to me before, so it's not pretty if you ask me.
Oh, I think it's gonna start to get like that a little bit between the truck and Xfinity drivers as we start getting closer towards the playoffs. It's gonna be like, who am I gonna start messing with it here in the playoffs? And because who's crossed me wrong, during the regular season? Gotta start thinking about that in the playoffs when we get there in the, next month.
Sure.
Oh, I agree.
And really quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to, if we have guests up here who would like to talk about stories from when they started racing here or their fondest memories, y'all could join up and say, hey, here's my favorite Misfits memory of. There's one that I will never, ever forgive Jamie for this. And I know Maddie was in that race. Dave, I don't know if you were in the league at the time.
No, I was actually could not race trucks that season.
Okay, so we were in Trucks Auto Club. That was before the 4 times wear stuff. I think I was leading at the time, and I don't know what turn I was. Jamie, I think, is right behind me, and I still regret it to this day. And
I think it was 3 and 4 from what I remember you telling me.
I think it was 3 and 4, and I was not too happy about that race, and I would have had 2 wins by now. I would have had 2 by now, and I'm an idiot still. And Jamie asked me, he's like, Nick, how much you got in your fuel? And I think it was like in the single digits. And I drove it in deep, and I don't know if I was trying to save. I believe he goes to the bottom, whoop. Up the track he goes. Bye-bye. He wins. I finished second. I have not forgiven Jamie that day. I will never forgive him for that. I promise.
That's when you don't tell nobody your strategy. You asked me several times where you at on your fuel, and I'm not telling you.
That's why I say good conversation, Dave. That's what I'm saying.
You got duked out on strategy by verbal talk, Nick. Ouch.
Yeah, I did, and I like I said, I will never forgive Jamie that day. I have never forgiven him that day because I've been close to wins. Yes, Dave can back me up on this. I think it was me, him, and. No, was it me, him, and GU or something? We were all working together at Talladega one time. I think it was me and GU. I forget who else was in that group. But we were all battling for a win, and I always do this to myself. I kick myself in the butt by speeding on the last pit stop at Talladega. It cost me.
How in the world, here's my question is, how in the world do you not know that it's 55 at that big place? I'm on the
brakes. I'm not trying to run in the back of anyone. So,
I get it, but geez, out of all places to speed at that place?
I remember what race you're talking about.
Wait. Okay, so there's one, I know there's one, Dave, that me and you, we were we were working together, and I remember it was me, you, and Gordon. I think Gordon was leading, and I was going to say, hey, Dave, swing to the top or something, and you didn't have enough on the momentum, and I was like, you know what? I'll finish third behind Dave and Gordon. Why not?
No, it was me, you, and Maniac, and you went into the pit and only took 2 tires.
Oh, yes, I do remember that. Okay, yes, that one actually happened because I wanted to take I think, oh, yes, I did take 2 tires because
you were leading, and me and Maniac were coming, and you wanted to hurry up and get that bigger lead. We took 4 tires, which put us a little further back. You took 2 tires, and then the last lap, you hit the wall because your tires blew, and I got my first victory because Maniac thought we had another lap to go.
I have never. Thanks for bringing that up. That one hurts my brain. Remember, if you remember, Chadskins got on me for that or something like that. There was one race. Chadskins, who was a driver here in this league, caught on my butt. Apparently, for some odd reason, yelled at me, and I believe it was you, Maniac, backed me up on it, Dave.
You did hit him going in the pits. That was the same race.
That was, and I was like, really? You're gonna? And I think Maddie backed me up, Dave backed me up, and I was like, really? You're gonna?
After watching video, yeah, it was not your fault, but it was your fault taking 2 tires only.
Hey, I didn't know the call, man. No one told me what they were thinking. I was like, okay, well. But hey, you know what? Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have Misfit stories that you would like to share, even if we have guests like Maddie or anyone, if you want to join and tell us about a Misfit story or memory that you have, we would love to hear it, because Dave suggested that to me and I was like, that's not a bad idea. And I also did.
There's been a lot of good races. It
really has. And I did talk to Dave about the intro, and I got no one who could probably play us some music, but I'm thinking that if I could just find like a song, maybe that doesn't have I'm finding some, but I'm not sure which one. I'm not gonna have the words. I'm just gonna have the instrumental. So
just the instrumental.
Well, here's what I told Maddie. I said to Maddie, I said, hey, Dave suggested this to me. We should have an intro music. And I said, I don't know what your take on it. And he's like, I like the idea, but how do we use it legitimately? So, and I asked him, I said, does he know anyone who does music? He got no one. So, if anyone knows anyone who could do music for our intro to a broadcast on Wednesdays and Thursdays, please let Dave know, let Maddie know, let me know, because I would love to have an intro, and because I think that's something cool, if you ask me.
Oh, absolutely. Because, we have the outro for trucks already. We just need some kind of intro.
Absolutely. I think it's amazing. But
and last week I went and seen the Printaholics, and we sat down for a couple hours and started working on the shirts. And there is going to be a championship shirt after this season. We will put the names in there. That way they're, from season 2, 3, all the way up to 12.
That is awesome.
Wow, they're going to have it.
And then we got another one that's a little more fancy, but that's got 3 ideas for shirts. And we're going from there.
You probably used his quote-unquote fingers of fancy, Justin. He probably used it.
Hey.
Well, it's fancy lettering.
Fancy lettering, fancy anything. It's his thing.
Exactly. With that being said, I know you're all missing the cup race at Darlington, which right now I'm not sure how it's going, but
my car's pretty much out already, so let's not bring it up.
I could tell. I got a text from one of my friends about it. I don't think anyone's going to be happy about that. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for watching the Misfits Racing League sit-down talk show. And again, we are sorry it's a day early because, again, my Gators are playing tomorrow night. I'd love to watch them beat the living crud out of Houston tomorrow. And if they win, I'm going to tell someone, Houston, y'all have a problem. So,
but anyways, we'd also like to thank our sponsors, Printaholics, Tomco Prints, Beneath the Oak Podcast, and Mustang Makers.
And really quick about I almost said Printaholics. Beneath the Oaks, you can listen to anywhere on your Apple Music, Spotify, and you can listen to on your phone, iPad, whatever. If you have Spotify or whatever, they are amazing. They talk about us, and they help out, man. They are great. We love our sponsors, each and every one of y'all. Again, we will sign off, and hopefully we'll see y'all for Kentucky, and hopefully see y'all for Thursday, because it is Dirt Week, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, and I'm going to say this again. Well, I'm going to say this, Justin. I hope
between dirt and horses, we got horses at Kentucky and dirt everywhere else. So get dirt and horses this week.
Absolutely. I hope this surpasses the Daytona season opener for trucks.
Oh, absolutely. We want our audience to come out and check this race out Thursday night. It's going to be awesome.
Mind blowing. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sign off. Until then, see y'all Wednesday.
Happy True. news to you.